Welcome, everyone. My name is Natalia Godoy, and I'm happy to tell you about our research entitled Age Period Cohort Effects on Incidence Trends of Childhood Leukemia from 4 population-based cancer registries in Colombia. So let's start with the study background. Childhood cancer occurring between ages 0 and 18 affects 280,000 children globally each year, with leukemia being the most common form. In Latin America and the Caribbean, leukemia had 9,000 new cases in 2020, with incidence and mortality rates at 4.5 and 2 per 100,000 person years, respectively. In Colombia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia is the most prevalent childhood cancer. While about 10% of childhood leukemia cases are linked to known risk factors like ionizing radiation and genetic syndromes, the rising incidence of acute lymphoblastic leukemia suggests environmental factors may play a role. In addition to molecular genetic findings, trends in the incidence of this disease shed light on its causes. As a consequence, variations in incidence and mortality rates in different locations and time periods serve as data sources for generating and testing hypotheses about the factors contributing to different types of cancer. Given the limited research on childhood leukemia incidence in Colombia, this study aimed to identify trends in the incidence of leukemia in children and adolescents and to analyze the effects of age, calendar period, and birth cohort on the risk of leukemia incidence. To achieve this, we carried out the following methods. So first is data source, where the number of children and adolescents diagnosed with leukemia were obtained from the PBCR of the following Colombian cities: Cali, Bucaramanga, Pasto, and Manizales. So the first method we used is the joint point regression model, which is a useful tool to analyze incidence trends with changing patterns over time. It has 4 stages. First, identifying joint points. Second, fitting segmented regression model. Third comes the model selection, involving selecting the optimal number and location of joint points that best fit the data using a Bayesian information criterion. And finally, assessing a significance of joint points. The second method we used are age period cohort models, which are based on a linear regression model that allows to differentiate why changes in mortality or disease rates occur in a population over time by exploring 3 effects. First, age effect, which corresponds to variations associated with biological aging. Period effects, that corresponds to variations over time period that affects all age groups simultaneously, like wars, natural disasters, or pandemics. And cohort effects, that corresponds to changes across groups of individuals who experience an initial event, such as birth in the same year. The challenge in analyzing age period cohort models lies in dealing with the identifiability issues, where effects of age period and cohorts are linearly dependent and cannot be estimated separately without additional constraints or assumptions. To address this issue, we used the solution proposed by Huang and Nielsen that follows the second differences of the time effects. Following the deviance analysis, which is a method used to assess the goodness of fit of the age period cohort models to the observed data. To assess the best model, we use the Akaike information criterion and the p-value derived from the deviance test. Moving on to the results, during the different period in the 4 PBCRs, a total of 966 childhood leukemia cases were identified. The age standardized incidence rates varied by city, where Bucaramanga reported the highest incidence rate of 7.27 and Manizales the lowest with an average incidence rate of 3.89 per 100,000 person years. When analyzing trends over time, the study found no statistically significant changes in overall childhood leukemia incidence rates in any of the 4 cities. However, when we broke it down by leukemia subtype, significant changes were observed, particularly in Cali and Bucaramanga, for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and for Pasto and Bucaramanga for acute myeloid leukemia. Concerning age period cohort effects, based on the Akaike criterion, the age model was selected for Manizales and Bucaramanga, while the trend age model was chosen for Cali and Pasto. No significant period or cohort effects were identified in any of the populations. When comparing the estimated data derived from models represented by the red line focusing on age and trend age against the observed data depicted as blue dot, we can see that in Manizales and Bucaramanga, the observed data aligned well with the age-based model. However, Cali and Pasto, there was more variability between the observed and projected data, suggesting that additional factors beyond age may influence trends. Finally, moving on to the discussion and concluding remarks. In this study, analyzed the trends in childhood leukemia incidence and the effects of age, period, and cohorts in 4 Colombian cities. While overall incidence rates did not show significant changes in the estimated annual percent change, the fluctuations in subtypes, particularly the sharp increases and decreases in acute lymphoid leukemia and acute myeloid leukemia, are noteworthy. This study also revealed that age is the most significant factor driving childhood leukemia incidence, with the highest rates observed in children aged 0 to 4 years, which aligns with global patterns where leukemia rates peak in early childhood. Additionally, we found significant regional variations, with Bucaramanga showing the highest incidence rates. These may be influenced by the rural areas surrounding Bucaramanga and Cali, where pesticide use is common, potentially contributing to these trends. Therefore, further research is needed to explore the potential link between pesticide exposure and leukemia in this region. We had some limitations, particularly that we used data from PBCRs corresponding to 4 cities that together does not represent more than 7% of the country's population, affecting the generalizability of the results. And also we have the issue of the accuracy and completeness of the results that heavily rely on the quality of data collected by the PBCRs, affecting the reliability of the results. We have some strengths, particularly the inclusion of data spanning extensive periods offers a comprehensive view, enabling a nuanced understanding of temporal trends, and the combination of joint point regression analysis and age period cohort analysis strengthens the study's analytical approach. I would like to finally acknowledge the co-authors of this study, and I thank you all for your attention.